Hello everyone, I'm Jess Jones. How are you today? It's a beautiful day here in Southern California. The sun is shining, as you can tell. And I just wanted to take a moment to tune in with y'all and share a little bit of insight of my divine guidance. So last night I was sharing in a beautiful community with amazing people who are here to change this world, and we were talking about the spiritual path. And every one of us that was there in that group, we are not only walking the spiritual path, but we are leading the spiritual path for others to pave the way for them to step into their spiritual authenticity and their spiritual name. And one of the questions that came up was, this is great. There's so many awakened beings on this planet now who are ready to step into their own power and their own truth and their own purpose. But what about the billions of people who have no idea about their subtle energy body, or about ascension, or about the awakening that's happening on a mass consciousness on this planet? What about those people? How do we connect with those people? How do we share a piece of what's happening and illuminate their lives to experiencing the spiritual divine truth that is within each and every one of us, that we are these amazing energetic beings, and we have the power to create anything and everything that we desire in the name of love. And I brought it to their awareness and their attention and brought this up, and I want to share this with you all now. And this is what I teach and what I practice, and that is spiritual nutrition. And spiritual nutrition is an amazing form of healing. If you look at what the word nutrition means to begin with, nutrition is the process of providing or obtaining the food necessary for health and growth. So spiritual nutrition will be the process of providing and obtaining the food necessary for spiritual health and growth. So what does that all mean? How does food and spirituality, how do they relate with one another? Because we hold them in two separate categories right now. Food and spirituality don't really come in alignment anywhere in our world, and I'm here to change that, because food is the foundation for our spirituality. And I'm going to go into a little bit about what that means now. On this planet, we have a health crisis, and that health crisis is obesity, disease, illness, these crazy illnesses that we've created on this planet. These illnesses are not natural to the human body. They are natural to nothing on this planet. They come from chemistry, and they come from synthetic food, processed food, and toxins that are put into our body that our body was unable to handle. And in turn, toxic illness, toxic disease were created. So we live in a society where we've been pumped with processed foods and fast foods and genetically modified foods. To at one point, the idea of processed foods kind of came around the Industrial Revolution, where people were working in factories and working long hours and working all the time, and these cities were growing and booming, and people were moving fast, and they needed food that would now feed the body, but also fit within the new structure of society, which was people worked 40 to 60 hours a week. They were not home to cook food for their families. They were working, they were providing, they were out creating this beautiful industrialized world that we live in now, with all these modern technologies and all of these amazing gizmos and gadgets that are making this life so convenient and joyful. But what these gizmos and gadgets did was they pumped us full. They took away from our time, from nurturing our sacred body temple. And we detached from this body and completely put our consciousness and our mind and our mentality around our work and around our perceived perceived work, because not all of this is naturally our work that we're here to do. It's work that we've been told we were to do. I know I'm feeling intuitively called to say that, I know that person who's working that minimum wage job, providing for their family, they didn't come into this planet thinking that they were going to spend the rest of eternity working at a fast food restaurant. That was not their goal. That was not their path. That was not their soul contract. But they got sucked into this world and pumped with processed foods that made them confused about their soul contract. So I think the understanding of the energetics behind processed foods is a really important place to go as we journey into the realm of spiritual nutrition. And this is something that I'm going to be talking a lot about, as spiritual nutrition is the future of our mind, body, and soul connection. And it is very, very important to understand that food is crucial in our spiritual awakening, in our path of ascending. So diving into processed foods and what that means for our body. Our body cannot digest a lot of the processed foods that we have been consuming. As our society grew through the Industrial Revolution, the processed food came in, the altered genetically modified foods came in, the fast foods came in, and changed the way food structures were made. Foods were no longer grown from the earth, but they were made in a warehouse or in a chemistry lab. So they were made with chemicals and nitrates and fillers and all of these processed, altered, chemically made substances. However, the human body has not changed since it really came here to digest these chemicals. The human body is made to digest and process and run through the system flawlessly things that are made on this earth, grown on this earth. And so processed foods, our body just does not have the genetic makeup to process some of these chemicals. And what happens is these chemicals end up, going into the liver, and the liver can't detoxify them. So the liver sends these toxic foods into the stomach, and the stomach says, hey, whoa, I don't know how to digest this chemical. So the stomach sends the food back into the liver saying, hey, I need you to purify this for me, otherwise I can't digest it. The liver says, well, I don't know what this is. This is foreign to me. This processed hamburger from McDonald's is foreign to me. I don't know I can't recognize this. It does not come from this earth. So what the liver does is it pumps it back into the bloodstream, and the bloodstream pumps it in, and it stores as fat in the body. And we end up having these huge layers of fat around our belly, around our thighs, around our butt, around our shoulders, all over. We just get packed with these layers of fat because our stomach cannot digest processed foods. So we have an obesity epidemic in this country right now. And I think this is the first time in our existence that children that are being born right now actually have a lifespan that is shorter than their parents because of the obesity and diabetes and the food that we are putting into their bodies. And it's really time that we wake up and see that this is a huge problem. It's a huge problem, and we have to be a change in that problem. So spiritual nutrition is going to fill that space, because we recognize that when we are wanting to attain happiness, and we are wanting to sit on a meditative path, and we are wanting to begin a spiritual journey, all of the things that we have to overcome in order to get to that space of enlightenment, ascension, bliss, contentment, happiness, whatever it is that you call your spiritual connection, to get to that place, you really have to be able to sit in your body and be at peace in your body, and be at ease in your body, and be pain-free in your body, so that you can sit in meditation, be pain-free in your body, so that your mind isn't focusing on that stomach cramp or that inability to cross your legs and sit, or your mind isn't wandering to what you're going to eat afterwards because you're so emotionally attached to food that anything that comes up emotionally through your meditation is going to immediately connect you to food and cause these cravings. And then as soon as you end your meditation, you're going to get up. Maybe you're going to leave your meditation early to get up and go to the fridge and grab that chocolate bar, or grab that can of soda, or that bag of Doritos, or whatever it is that soothes that emotion that came up in your meditation. What these bag of Doritos and these Cokes and these candy bars and McDonald's and all of these toxic processed foods do is they cause an energetic shield in the body. They cause a density in the body that is unable to raise to a high enough vibration where the spiritual realm is accessed. Processed foods sit way, way low in the lower chakras. That's why we see people with this part of their being, the fatness expands right here in their lower realm. Around the root chakra, we have that bulge. We have the bulge around our solar plexus and our sacral chakra. We have that bulge coming through up here around our heart, where we grow excess breast tissue. We have that bulge that grows around our shoulders and neck that suppresses our throat. And then the water and the food, the chemicals go in and calcify our pineal and pituitary glands and prevent our higher self from speaking through. So what all that means, if you have any of the questions on the chakras that I'm talking to, please go to my website, theartofbeinghappy.org, where I have, about 16 different free videos to learn about the chakras and to also open and activate and stimulate your chakras through yoga. So please, I'm not going to touch on the chakras too much right now and what they mean. I'm going to be talking about them. So if you don't know what I'm talking about with these chakras and you're curious, please go to my site or contact me, leave a comment, and I will be sure to answer you. The food, the processed foods sitting on our lower chakras form these layers of fat that actually congest our chakra system. So starting with our root chakra becoming congested, we no longer feel safe and secure unless we have those processed foods to provide us that safety and security. That safety and security can be around love. We form these emotional bonds around food that provides us love. For a really long time, and I'm going to share a little bit about something that I came through my awareness on when I was really working with disciplining myself around my spiritual nutrition. And for a long time, I would snack on peanut butter religiously, out of a jar every day. I would go through 3-4 jars of peanut butter a week, sometimes more. And I would just mindlessly eat peanut butter, snack on peanut butter all day. And recently, about 2 months ago now, I was getting to the last bits of my purification and detoxification to rise my consciousness to the highest level it's ever been at. And I had to strip down my emotional eating. And peanut butter, since I was a little girl, has been my love. I have spent my relationships with peanut butter. When I would be home alone, sad and lonely, I would turn to peanut butter. When I was scared as a little girl or upset as a little girl or any emotion that came through me, I would turn to peanut butter. So in my adult exploration of self, when I was trying to overcome my last bits of attachment to totally surrendering, loving myself, I recognized that I was using peanut butter as a relationship to provide me a sense of love and comfort and support and security. And it was very, very emotional. And it was very challenging for me to let go of peanut butter. And peanut butter is not, necessarily bad for you. There's amazing fresh ground peanut butter, and it's not necessarily a bad food, but I was using it for my emotion. I was using it for love, for security, for safety. And that is not how we are supposed to be eating food or nourishing this body temple. We are not supposed to be putting food into our body unless our body is hungry and is saying, I'm ready to eat. But we've lost our ability to feel ourself telling us that we are full, because our mind and body have become two separate entities. We no longer have a mind-body connection, but we have detached in this society from processed foods, and our mind and body have become separate entities, and our soul is totally separate. We can't even access our spirit in this world. under the processed food model of living in this society. Under the fast food model of living in this society, we don't tap into our spirit. We are told that our spirit is something we experience when we leave this body, when this life is over. And that is a lie that processed food, pharmaceuticals, chemistry, big money, big business wants you to believe. But that is not the truth. The truth is, once you eliminate these processed foods from your body and you start to eliminate the layers of fat that they've caused, the fat that has congested your chakra system, the fat that has suppressed your ability to think clearly for yourself, the fat that has held you back from sitting in meditation because you can't physically sit there without your mind wandering towards food or emotion or whatever comes up in your physical body of pain. Spiritual nutrition is where we begin when we are ready to find peace, happiness, love, joy, an awakening experience. Our body temple comes first. We have to nurture and love and support this sacred body temple. It is the foundation of our spiritual journey. It is the beginning. It is where we can challenge ourselves. It is where we can learn to discipline ourselves. It is where we can learn to love ourselves. When we merge the mind and body as one again. The way that we are supposed to be on this planet is completely in harmony, mind, body, and soul. And what that looks like is, for instance, when I'm eating now, my body intuitively tells me it's hungry. It intuitively tells me what it wants to eat. It says, I want this exact thing. I need to have watermelon right now in order for my body to be hydrated and to handle this heat. Or I'm needing a little protein right now for energy. Or I'm needing some leafy greens today because I'm feeling my, fire in my vata needs to be balanced. It's a very intuitive knowing. It's not a mindless eating to eat. It's a very conscious, mindful decision between mind and body to nourish, to feed, to put the right things into this body that the body needs. And it's so important because every single body needs something different to eat. We are bio-individual beings, and we have our own individual makeup and our own individual experiences in this body. And if we can't connect to our intuitive calling that tells us what to eat or not to eat, we will allow our minds to be controlled by people and companies and fast food organizations and big businesses that are pumping out processed food, genetically modified food, and are poisoning you. They're poisoning you with those foods. We will allow those companies to take over our mind and to tell our mind what to feed our body. And when that happens, you enter a path and a life that's going to be in sickness. It is going to be in confusion. It's going to be in illusion. It's going to be in domination, control, and manipulation. Because when you have no control over what you're putting into your body, because your mind is so brainwashed and manipulated by the processed toxic chemicals that you've been pumping in your system since you were probably a small child. And honestly, there's no fault in this. We can't judge ourselves for, what our parents fed us. We can't judge ourselves for what their parents fed them. We can't judge ourselves because at the time, we didn't know any better. We were being told nothing about these processed foods. We were being told amazing things like, wow, you are going to be able to work and spend more time with your family because you're not going to have to spend as much time cooking and all these amazing foods. We weren't taught in our systems about how to keep our body healthy. We weren't taught that. We were taught when we were sick, we go to a doctor and the doctor is going to make us healthy. We were never taught how to keep our bodies healthy to begin with. In the West, this is at least. In the East, it's a different story because Ayurveda is a 5,000-year-old amazing medicinal system of keeping people healthy, teaching them how to keep the body healthy. Because once the body is healthy, it's very easy to keep the body healthy. It's when the body moves from health into sickness that it becomes very difficult to naturally restore health in the body. It's not impossible. It's very, very possible, but it's difficult. It takes discipline and dedication and commitment and compassion and love and support. It takes support. And unfortunately, for a very long time, at least in America, we haven't had the right support. We've had the support of chemistry, we've had the support of pharmaceuticals, and pharmaceuticals are a nasty cycle that are going to suck you dry of your financial resources. They're going to suck you dry of your capacity to think for yourself. They're going to completely numb your entire body. They're going to send you down a path that is not your authentic path as a human being, because a path that is numb to the experience of the human body, the path that is numb to the experience of this planet, is not the human path. The human path showing up in this body, this planet, is about feeling, experiencing, expressing, connection, emotion, creativity, divine order. And you notice that when you are pumping yourself with processed foods or with meats, you wake up the next day and you don't feel creative. You feel sluggish, lethargic, depressed even, low energy. You can't think clearly. You can't think of anything. That's not you, that's what you're putting in your body. And it's very important that we understand the spiritual connection between food and our body, the emotional connection between food and our body, and learn to restore the balance between that connection. If you want to begin a meditation, a more peaceful mental space, you want to become more creative, more loving, more you. It begins with your food. It begins with the body. It begins with getting the body into such condition that you're able to sit there, you're able to focus, you're able to concentrate, you're able to relax, you're able to feel at peace within the body. And I'll share in a future video a little bit about my story and what makes me qualified to speak with you on this, but I'll save that for another time so the videos don't get too long. Today is just about really tapping into the awareness of the importance of spiritual nutrition, of the importance of understanding that our bodies are the first spot, the first step of beginning to tap into our mind, of beginning to formulate the mind-body-soul union. It first begins with radical transformation, purification of the body, purifying the sacred body temple and restoring it so that everything in this body comes from this earth. That is the only way that you will be able to raise your vibration high enough to the levels of ascension, high enough to the levels of the fifth dimension, high enough to the levels of someday telepathically communicating with others, someday flying, of someday transporting yourself around this planet. You will not be able to do that with the density of third dimensional food. We have to look at processed food as an energy. Every food is energy. And processed food is an energy of the third dimensional frequency. It is an energy of manipulation. Processed food was created to close off your ability to think for yourself. It was created to cause sickness in the body so that you would now be forced to conform to fitting into the Western medicine model. As a sick being, you are now going to go to your doctor. Your doctor is told to prescribe you pills. Those pills need other pills because there are side effects to those pills. And then the side effect pills, to protect those side effects, need pills too. So you find yourself going to the doctor and getting prescribed 3 pills for something that's flushing your body through water, and broccoli and leafy greens would be able to heal within a few weeks. But you now have to spend a lifetime on these medicines for things like irritable bowel syndrome. Irritable bowel syndrome is called processed foods have backed up your entire intestinal system and it needs to be cleansed. Meat has backed up your entire intestinal system and it needs to be cleansed. Irritable bowel syndrome is not real. It is created by processed foods, by toxic food and chemicals that have built up over the years in your intestine and never been purified, never been released. So your body is not able to digest food anymore because you have the lining of your intestinal wall filled with chemicals, filled with toxins. It starts with cleansing that out, purifying that out, getting those toxic crap out of there, and then filling the body up with loving food of this earth. the loving food of the fifth dimensional is fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, grains, things of this planet, things that our beings as souls have not had lifetimes as. Animals are not beings that we will be eating in the fifth dimension. Animals are souls just like you and I, and I'll say that for another conversation, because today is about processed foods and about truly understanding what processed foods energetically are doing to the body, shutting off your chakra system, shutting off your ability to think for yourself by suppressing with layers and layers of fat, congesting your chakras and making them unable to spin, unable to operate, and therefore you're unable to sit in your meditation, you're unable to connect to your higher self, you're unable to connect to that intuitive knowing that tells you when you're full and when you're hungry, when you need to eat and when you don't. That intuitive knowing that separates emotion and food is energy. Food is our life energy on this planet, and we don't need as much as we think we do. We don't need to be consuming it in mass quantities. We're not supposed to eat for emotional enjoyment. We're supposed to eat to nourish and nurture this body temple. And I'm not saying that we cannot eat for enjoyment as a spiritual being or enjoy food. I want to make that very clear. You can still go out and have these amazing, beautiful meals cooked with love and enjoy them. It has to come after, though, you've learned to merge the mind and body, to connect to the intuitive feeling in your being that says, I'm hungry, I'm full, eat here, eat then, eat now, eat don't, eat now, eat this, eat that. Until we connect to that guidance, we have to refrain from indulging. Once we've connected to that guidance, and once we've nourished it and nurtured it and disciplined it and perfected it and gotten to a space where we can be completely content with ourselves, then once we have the control back, once we are standing in our power and we are clear of our purpose and our path and our mission, then we can enjoy those foods again. Not the toxic ones, but you'll go and enjoy an amazing vegan chef who cooks you the best, most loving meal that you've ever had. That's when you'll enjoy the food again, enjoy the luxury of how it can be prepared. Because there are some amazing beings on this planet whose gift is feeding you and nurturing you with amazing foods from this planet. Those are the types of food that we'll want to enjoy and savor, save for those special moments when we want to indulge. But we don't want to get and indulge all the time until we've gotten ourselves to a space of control, taken back our power over our eating, taken back our power over our body, mind, and soul connection. And that comes with purifying and cleansing the body. That is a first stop on this spiritual journey. For those of you who are like, I can't even think about how I could ever possibly clear my mind, I would love to be tapping into the happiness, the joy, the energy, the love, the support, the divine manifestation that comes with being an ascended being on this planet. But you just can't quite see how the heck that could happen because you don't feel it at all. If you don't feel it at all, it's because your body is so blocked up energetically. Our body is the vessel that they've been using to suppress our consciousness. Yes, because our soul lives in this beautiful body on this life. They've been using our beautiful body to suppress our soul, to suppress our consciousness, through poisoning our body, through killing our body slowly from the inside out. That is what processed food does. It kills your body, and then it kills your mind, and then it kills your soul until you eventually die from sickness and disease. And I'm here to tell you that that is not the future for you if you choose to be different. If you choose to take a stand for your health, if you choose to take a stand in spiritual nutrition, a stand in taking your power back. And you don't have to do this alone. You do not have to do this alone. This is not something that you are meant to do alone. And this is not something that your doctor necessarily can do with you, because unfortunately our doctors in the Western medicine model do not learn nutrition. This is very, very important for everyone in America to understand and to learn. Doctors in this country do not learn nutrition unless they personally set out to study nutrition. It is not in the American Medical Association's standard to teach them how to prevent sickness. They learn how to treat sickness and disease. Treatment. So the only way that the American Medical Association will stay in business under this model is if they have patients to treat. So you being sick continues to fund pharmaceutical companies, fund the American Medical Association that says treatment of disease is all there is. Well, we need to take a stand together in the American society and say enough is enough. Prevention is number one. Learning and teaching people how to keep their body, their divine sacred body temple healthy to begin with is number one. Ayurveda has been doing this for 5,000 years, teaching people how to keep their body healthy, to prevent disease. Number one. Treatment is not number one. Prevention is spiritual nutrition. Remember, you do not have to do this alone. There are people here who will support you. I am one of those beings who is here to support you. I'm an amazing health and spiritual coach, and I have aligned with a 3-month path that helps people to show themselves compassion, purify their body, and then teach a spiritual discipline that aligns them with their truth. This is called The Art of Being Happy, and you can find it on my site, theartofbeinghappy.org. Please connect with me and leave comments on this idea of spiritual nutrition. If you have any questions on processed foods, on the energy that processed foods send into this body, I am going to be continuing to share a lot of my wisdom and my knowledge on this topic of the energy around food and about transforming your body with food, not through chemistry. This is a powerful time to awaken to a new way of treating our bodies on this planet. And if you do not awaken to treating your body in a new way on this planet, you will kill your body on this planet with the poisons that you're putting into it. In a loving, honest way, that is your truth. That is a sad truth for many people on this planet who may not hear this message. But if you are listening to this message, you are meant to awaken, and you are not meant to be one of those beings that kills your sacred body temple with processed foods. So please, if you have aligned with hearing this message, take it seriously. There is no coincidence that you've received this message today. You are meant to awaken. You are meant to be healthy, happy, and whole on this planet. You are not meant to be in pain. You are not meant to be in sorrow, stress, or sadness. You are meant to live a radiant life of health, happiness, and wholeness. And you do not have to do this alone. I understand this is something new to a lot of people, and we need to learn and teach and grow from each other. So please use me as your guide in supporting you and helping you to spiritually evolve your body, mind, and soul. Thank you so much, as always, for listening to my divine messages of health, happiness, and love. I am sending you so much love and so much support and so much heartfelt energy, and I just want to take a moment to give you a little bit of the radiant light that's been shining down on me so that you can receive the love too. So in this moment, know that you are loved, you are supported, and that any situation that you are in right now can be healed with compassion, purification, and discipline. Any and all situations that are in your body and your mind and your soul can be healed. Energy is never destroyed, it just changes forms. So we have to change the form of the energy that's lying in our physical body, from sickness into health, from confusion into clarity, from disease elimination. Let's just eliminate disease. Let's eliminate it, because we are only putting natural foods in our body so that our body has no need to be fighting off chemistry, fighting off poison. Let's feed our body what it loves. I love you so much. Thank you for listening to my message. I'll be sure to share more inspiration on this topic of spiritual nutrition as we both evolve and transform together. Namaste.